Stan Gibilisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV Whiskey 1. Good vibrations. You're looking right back there at my 22-foot vertical antenna, capacitively loaded at the base with 50 picofarads, so that 22 feet resonates at a quarter of a wavelength on 20 meters. I was just fooling around with this antenna, and for some mysterious reason, even though the SWR is about 1.2 to 1 on that antenna on 14 megahertz, my transmitter my internal antenna tuner didn't want to tune it. And I also noticed that it didn't want to tune it on 15 meters. Now I can force feed this antenna. It's got about 50 feet of RG8X coaxial cable leading down into the shack, into the nerd cave. And I can force feed that thing, even though the SWR on that cable is kind of high, and I'm sure it's not the most efficient feed line in the world, but with only 10 watts, you're not going to fry it, at least. And I've made some good DX. 22 feet on 15 meters is exactly a half a wavelength, so if I could get that thing to tune on 15 meters, but it wouldn't tune on 15 meters either. Now, I wasn't so mystified by that. I thought maybe the impedance is just out of the range of the antenna tuner. But I noticed something kind of bizarre. It would force feed on all the other bands, but it wouldn't do it on 6 meters either. So 6 meters, 15 meters, and 20 meters, the thing would not, you couldn't force feed it, but you could on the other bands above 14 megahertz, and even to some extent on 10 megahertz. I could force feed it. I noticed that on my ICOM IC746 Pro, there's a little antenna tuner indicator that says tune when it's on. Well, on 14 megahertz, 21 megahertz, and 50 megahertz, it was off. I mean, I could try to tune the thing manually, but it just didn't want to do it. So I decided to make it to set that tune thing on. I actually, what I did was I went and I looked at the instruction manual, the instruction book for the IC746 Pro. Now I thought, I'm a smart guy. I'm an antenna guru. I don't need to look at the instruction manual to figure out how to tune an antenna, for crying out loud. I'm too smart for that, I figured. I figured wrong. Here's, I guess it's something like, in the springtime, ham radio operators get a craving to go out and fool around with antennas. Maybe because of the withdrawal that's been taking place all winter long. You couldn't, who wants to go out when it's 10 below zero and climb a tower or something? But the deal with the ham radio is this. You're never too smart to read the instruction manual. At least I'm not. And also, another thing about us male specimens, we seem to have an aversion to asking for directions. Maybe we're too proud, or maybe we just like to get lost. Actually, I think it's kind of fun to get lost. I drove through New York City once without a map and got lost. Had a ball. Some of the places, though, I didn't particularly want to stop at. But, well, anyway, though, that was New York City. And there are some really cool places in New York, too, that I drove through that I don't regret having done that. It looked a lot like part of my stomping grounds out there in Minneapolis, but the thing is I didn't use a map. But I did that on purpose. I got lost on purpose. I think sometimes us male specimens, we like to get lost on purpose. But it sure sucks when your antenna won't tune because of your stubbornness and boneheadedness in refusing to look at the instruction manual. So when in doubt, read the instruction manual, fellow hams, even if you have a 2-letter call sign and been licensed for almost 50 years, and start thinking you're pretty smart. I ain't. Stan Gibilisco, W1. Good vibrations. Signing off. Saying 73 from the beautiful, sunny black holes of South Dakota, United States of advertising. So long.